Hi, I'm Kelly Tanner. This is session 1 of 4 on the desire mapping process. I am so glad that you're here with me today. We are going to start to uncover your core desired feelings. You should have received already your digital workbook, which looks like this in the hard copy. And then there's also the regular desire mapping book itself here. I have it here to show you, but you should receive the digital version. You also, if you wanted to order these items, there is a link that's made available in this course if you choose to have a paper version. So I just like to start with a little bit of gratitude and thank you for trusting me and trusting this process to really get to the core of how you feel and what actually drives your subconscious and conscious decisions. I know that we've talked about this before, that you may already know this, but everything that we do is driven by feelings and these core desired rooted feelings and belief systems that actually we follow and we don't even realize it. So what you will discover through attending the session 1 through 4 of the desire mapping process is an unfolding and an unlayering of this discovery process about yourself. It will reveal things that you never knew that were there, that were subconscious beliefs that you had about yourself, that then you can become aware of. You can start to set goals for yourself and start to intentionally manifest those in your life. So you should have in front of you your workbook or your digital version of your workbook. I would like for you to have a journal with you so you can jot down notes, also a pencil. And then a lot of times people enjoy this session using headphones, so they are in a setting that's comfortable for them, that they can listen. Fortunately, you can press pause if you need a little bit more reflection here. So what we'll do throughout these 4 sessions is I like to start out with a meditation that gets us centered. If you needed to pause or re-listen to anything, please feel free to do that. I will make you aware of intentional pauses that we have so you can have that time to reflect and journal before we move forward. So what does desire mapping really mean? I know that you know a little bit about this by what we just mentioned, but what it really meant to me, I'll talk about my personal experience, is that as a dental hygienist, I've always been very goal driven. I've always known pretty much what I wanted out of my life. I think most of us feel like we know those things. You know, you want to grow up, you want to get married, you want to have children, you want to have a great income, provide certain things and livelihood to your family. You want certain things out of your life and you want it to be a certain way. And with that comes the dedication, the commitment. And as we all grow up, as we all experience our different experiences in our life and the different contexts that we do, we start to realize that sometimes we become a different person and we don't realize it. And we're starting to live an old dream that we used to have, and we wonder why we don't feel fulfilled. So this desire mapping process took me by surprise, actually, because I wasn't really sure what to expect. I just knew that I needed to shake it up for myself, to step outside of my own comfort zone and to try something different I had never done before. And what I really like about the desire map process, I'm a Christian-based individual. I do ground this in Christian belief. Also, if you have a different belief system, that you have a different divine light that you would like to guide this toward, please feel free to utilize that instead of what I pray, or if I mention God, please make that your personal opportunity to connect to your divine source as well. But what I really felt like it did for me is it really recentered and realigned what my overall purpose was. And by doing this, I was able to go through the layers and really ask questions of myself about, is what you're living really true to what you're living, what you were living 5 years ago? Is it true to where you want to be today and where you think you're still headed? And I came up with a much different answer and answered some things for myself that I never realized were causing me to self-sabotage, that caused me to procrastinate, that caused me to reach the next level, that caused me to attract different things in my life that were comfortable to me. So through this process, what we'll do is we'll always begin by centering using a meditation. What I'll start with today after our meditation is then going through an agreement of intention. This is a very safe place for you to feel like you can share what you need to with yourself, to open up to yourself, to be able to be honest and speak your truth, because only you are going to get out of what you've put into this. So I'd like to start with the agreements of intention. These are the agreements of intention by Gemma Stone, psychotherapist. This is a place of love. It is a safe space for each of us because we treat each other with love. This is a place of safety. Nothing that is shared here will leave without permission of the person sharing. We leave shame, blame, judgment, comparison, and competition outside of this space. This is a place of community. We are invited and encouraged to share questions, wisdom, insight, uncertainty, writing, art, and reflections. No one will be pushed to share. Everyone will be invited. This is a place of growth. We are all on our own journey. We are all here to learn, and all questions are welcomed. All wisdom is welcome. We are all growing. This is a place of belonging. We each belong to our desires, our lives, and our community. We are each responsible for how we interact and what we get out of our time together. This is a place of sovereignty. We are here to support and encourage each other. We do not try to fix, control, save, mend, or rescue each other. We allow vulnerability in by being present with it. This is a place of honoring. We create a space where people can offer their gifts and ask also for what they need. This is a place of compassion. When we encounter resistance, we meet it with grace. When someone is in darkness, we shine light. And when someone is in process, we provide patience and presence. So I know that we're here in a virtual environment and you're wondering, how is it that I'll share these things? Well, you can always send me a note. I'll ask questions. If you feel like you want to share with me individually, please feel free to reach out and say, I didn't get this, or I didn't understand, or share the comments in our closed book, in our closed Facebook group if you're a subscribed member, and build that community of understanding so we can elevate each other and what we're doing in this life that we live together. So this is my sacred promise to you, that there's absolutely no judgment to you for what you share from me. And this is whether it's in this, if we're at a conference together. As a professional, we have that code of ethics that we share, but understand that I am never here to judge, and we are not to do that to each other. So let's go into our first meditation. And this is meant, you can call it prayer, you can call it quiet time. I desire to call it meditation because it's not exactly prayer, but it gets us centered and our mind set around our intentions for our time together. Okay, our first meditation. If you wouldn't mind, during these, when we get centered, I'll have you get comfortable. If you want to, cross your legs. You can sit upright or whatever position is comfortable. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And out through your mouth. Take a couple deep breaths and relax into those breaths. Feel your shoulders fall away from you as we are here together. For longing. Blessed be the longing that brought you here and quickens your soul with wonder. May you have the courage to listen to the voice of your desire that disturbs you when you have settled for something safe. May you have the wisdom to enter generously into your own unease, to discover the new direction your longing wants you to take. May the forms of your belonging in love, creativity, and friendship be equal to the grandeur and the call of your soul. May the one you long for you. May your dreams gradually reveal the destination of your desire. May a secret providence guide your thought and nurture your feeling. May your mind inhabit your life with the sureness with which your body inhabits the world. May your heart never be haunted by ghost structures of old damage. May you come to accept your longing as divine urgency. May you know the urgency with which the divine longs for you. Take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale, and come back when you're ready. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Where we're going to start, page 6 of your workbook. You should have this in a digital version. Some people find that actually printing this out and having this in front of them, or actually having a printed version, is helpful, but it's whatever. People work differently. So let's go to page 6 of your workbook. And I'm actually using the workbook that I always use, my original workbook that I worked in when I worked through this process, because it reminds me of what I was going through and the different layers that I was exploring. So what I would like for you to do, is I'm going to read through on page 6. It's these rapid fires. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say certain words, and you write down a few words, the first things that come to your mind, okay? So just the first things, don't give it too much thought, just the first things that come to mind. This is called rapid fire starting. This is to kind of get, shake off some of our day and to get focused into what it is that we're really trying to get to. So I'm going to call these out. I'm going to start with the first one, and then I'll pause, and then I'll move to the second. So try not to overthink. First thing that comes to mind. First thing that comes to mind, the first on page 6, I crave. Something that you crave. Next, other than time or money, what I want more of is, other than time or money, what I want more of is. I need to give myself, the next one, more permission to be. I need to give myself more permission to be. What's different about me is that. What's different about you? What's different than me is that going to the next page, page 7. What do I do most naturally? What do I do most naturally? And next, what do I do even though I don't want to? Even though you don't want to. So the next one is something that brings you alive, enlivens you, and reminds you of who you are. What brings you alive, enlivens you, and reminds you of who you are? Simple words. And lastly, this is going from light to heavy. This depresses my spirit and weighs me down, down, down. So, what is it that depresses or oppresses your spirit to weigh you down? So, what I'd like for you to do now is to go through this exercise, what you just did on page 6 and 7, and you're going to circle certain words. So for me, for instance, under I crave, okay, I had words such as safety, stability. Start to circle those words that pop out at you. Like if you have a long sentence that you are just jotting down, circle those key words that start to pop out at you and go through each one to do that. So I'll give you a moment to do that now. Okay, now we're going to move on to pages 8 and 9. So hold on to the words you just circled, okay, because we're going to do something with those. You'll see how this comes together in just a few minutes. So similar to what we just did on page 6 and 7, we're going to go through. These are a little more thoughtful, a little deeper. So if you need more time as I'm calling these out, please feel free to pause, but also understand you're not trying to overthink things either, okay? So under the psych surfing, let's go through these together. The best advice I have ever given. The best advice I have ever given. What is that? The next, the best advice I have ever received. And I'm glad that I took it. Glad that you took it. Next, the best advice I've ever received and didn't follow it. And I'm glad I ignored it. I'm glad I ignored this advice, didn't follow it. I get through tough times because. I get through tough times because. Next. When in doubt. When in doubt. Next. My joy comes from. My joy comes from what? And next, I value. I believe in. I believe in. I'm dead set against. I am dead set against. What I know to be true. What is true? True in your life, true to you. Now, if you didn't come to an answer with some of these, it's okay. There's no fault in that. If you need time to pause and reflect, you can take a moment now to do that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is similar to what you did with 6 and 7. On pages 8 and 9, if you go through your answers and you like for you to look at the words that are there, again, similar to like what you did before, and circle keywords that are popping up again. Maybe they're new words, maybe they're similar words, maybe the word safety showed up for me again, maybe security showed up again, commitment showed up for you again, whatever it is. So start to circle these words, go through. We're going to pause for a moment. You can pause now. Now, with these words, what you're going to do is in your journal, what I would like for you to do, this isn't a lot of people, like I mentioned at the beginning, will have a journal, and the very back of it on that last page, they'll turn to the last page and they'll form what we call a parking lot of these words that keep popping up through the exercises that we're doing. And what you'll notice is that sometimes you'll have a word that shows up 5 times, 10 times. If it shows up 10 times, only write it once. Maybe you're the kind of person who wants to put a tick mark next to it, but just write it down once, like the word safety, the word commitment, security would be in my parking lot. So just start keeping this laundry list. And as other words, if they start to come to mind, but even if they're not in this, you can write those down as well. And we're going to talk about how those come into play. Now, what I would like for you to do, there was a list of 150 positive words that I provided to you as your course material for this course. And with that, I would like for you to take some of the words and to start looking at the words on the list. So let's just say that, and this is what we'll do in session 2, 3, and 4 as well. So with this, I would like for you to take the word, so safety. If safety is a word, what does safety mean to me? Okay. So if you look at the word safety and then you look at your list of 150 words, what does that mean to me on that list of 150? What I came up with was peace. Safety means peace to me. So you're starting to learn to unfold these words. And I know that this may not seem like it makes sense quite yet, but this is the beginning stages of the process to start to open up these words and to really feel and get to the bottom of what these words really mean to you. Okay, so start to look at that list and say, for each word that's in your parking lot, what does that word really mean to me? Now let's go to sensations of positivity. This is on page 10 and 11. Again, these are just kind of your initial thoughts on something. If you don't have a reaction to them, just you can come back to it or you don't have to answer it. Okay, so let's go through these. Page 10, first one. The color of joy. What is the color of joy to you? The sound of joy. What is the sound of joy? The scent of joy. Love smells like. What does love smell like? In my body, appreciation feels like. In my body, appreciation feels like. Top of 11. I know I am happy when. If delight were an animal, it would be. Next, ecstasy lives. Ecstasy lives. And think of the word ecstasy in different contexts and different, you're so excited and just elated beyond belief. Where does that live in your heart and your mind for you? Next, pleasure feels like what? Does pleasure feel like? And last, when I whisper the word bliss, and say it out loud, bliss. What does that feel like? Bliss. Okay, so now with that exercise, take these words, go through them, circle the ones that are new, put them in your parking lot, and use these words again to look at the feelings of positivity. So, for instance, I'm just kind of giving you the way that it applied to me. The color of joy is hot pink for me. And how does hot pink make me feel? So I would go to my list of, of positive feelings. How does hot pink make me feel? It made me feel vibrant, alive, and I put sexy, depends on the wardrobe. Okay. So how do these words that you've circled make you feel? And the next for me was the sound of joy for me is laughter. And so what does laughter feel like for me? When people are laughing, what is that feeling? So there's time to reflect, to think when there's laughter, what is it I'm feeling? And for me, I put free and I put the word home, because that's what laughter reminds me of. So go through these exercises intentionally. And in the time that, what I usually recommend is that there's a period of time that you wait to do the next session. So to do session 2 or 3 or 4 of the desire mapping process, because a lot of people will find that in the time, in the few days that pass, is that they are able to reflect on what those words really mean to them, and they kind of get a deeper insight. And don't feel bad if you can't come up with anything. I'm gonna take you further through that process. And again, feel free to shoot me an email. It's Kelly at Next Level Dental Hygiene, and ask me questions if you want to get deeper insight. What I'd like to do now is to kind of assign some home work or some home reflection for you. And what I would like for you to do is in the workbook, we're working a lot from the workbook. Don't feel like you have to read the Desire Map book before you do all of this. I know how we are personality wise. Don't feel like you have to do that. You can get more insight to what we're going through that process, but go to pages 12 and 15, and these assignments are also listed in the course resources. Pages 12 through 15. So 12 is relating to life, and what is your relationship to life? So looking at your relationship with people, how you are in certain circumstances. And what I'd like for you to do is to go through pages 12, 13, 14, and 15. And just like we just did, go through those, answer those, circle those words, put them in your parking lot, and start to pay attention to which words are really common to you. Okay. The next thing I would like for you to do is now, I'm not telling you to go through and interpret dreams, but what I would like for us to do is to work on dream images. So some people don't dream at all. Some people dream every night. So if you're a person who dreams, and this is a part of the reason why I say give this a few days before you do session 2 of 4, because this work kind of plays in, and we'll start with that dream session and to work through that. And if you are dreaming, so pay attention to your dreams, and the guidelines are in your home practice session 1 in the course resources. So working on your dream images, if you see the word CDF, that means your core desired feelings. I just like to say that. It helps us really connect with our subconscious beliefs about our world around us, how we are with ourselves, with our relationships, with others, with ourselves, and to really get some insight into that. So if you're a person who dreams, you've probably heard this before, but wake up and write the dream right away. Okay, so then I'll talk to you next time about how we can really start to look at some of those similarities and some of the things that we're finding out, and we can discover about what it is you're dreaming about. Okay, so the directions are, there's a step 1, step 2, step 3 of the dream process that are outlined in that homework. Okay, and then the next exercise I would like for you to do is to complete what I call morning minutes. I would like for you to take every morning for the first few minutes in the morning, as much as you can. I know for some people it's very difficult to get this time, but if you can, even before you leave your room, okay, before you ever leave your room in the morning, just find a few minutes and write down a few pages. The directions are there in your handout. Write a few pages on what it is that you're feeling. Okay. Now, this doesn't have to be logical. What mine ended up being was laundry list. You know, I would be, okay, I got to do this today. This is next. This is next. And it's kind of like if you've ever gone camping or you've been in an area that's been in a time where there hasn't been water, and you turn the spigot on and you turn the water faucet on or spigot, and it starts to run brown, but then it starts to run clear. You'll find that as you start doing these morning minutes, that it actually clears out the mind first thing in the day. So if I'm thinking, oh gosh, you know, I don't really want to deal with whatever parent-teacher conference today because I know this child is XYZ, write all that down. It doesn't have to make sense. This is personal to you. And what you'll notice over the next few days is a trend in what you're doing. And I'm not going to project on what you should experience because everyone's experience is different. But you'll start to notice a difference in your morning minutes, and you'll start to notice a difference in you as well. Okay, so page 12 through 15 of your workbook, pay close attention to your dreams and jot them down in as much detail as you can. And then try to do your morning minutes as much as possible between now and session 2. If you have any questions to anything and you're a subscriber of Next Level Dental Hygiene, please go into our closed Facebook group and you can comment there or also send me an email. I would like to finish with kind of a closing statement, meditation, if you will, to kind of center our work today. If you wouldn't mind closing your eyes, relaxing again, and centering on your breath. Let your shoulders fall away. Take a deep breath in and exhale. The laughing heart. Your life is your life. Don't let it be clubbed into dank submission. Be on the watch. There are ways out. There is light somewhere. It may not be much light, but it beats the darkness. Be on the watch. The gods will offer you chances. Know them, take them. You can't beat death, but you can beat death in life sometimes. And the more often you learn to do it, the more light there will be. Your life is your life. Know it while you have it. You are marvelous. The gods wait to delight in you. By Charles Bukowski. I enjoyed our time together today. I look forward to seeing you in session 2. If you have any questions or need points of clarification, please feel free to email me.